now Poland stands on the front line of a hybrid war. Your mission is to lead the defense, outmaneuver the enemy, and secure the future of the nation. This is a demo version of the game, in which you will play through the opening part of the Polish campaign. Start from the skirmish mode to test your skills and get familiar with the gameplay, then play a new game for the full adventure. We would love to hear your feedback. Help us sharpen the experience before full deployment. Join our Discord community and share your thoughts. Good luck, Commander.
Hello, and good to be back. Though this will only gonna be temporary. Welcome to Systematic War, a real-time strategy game where you get to take control of your economy and lead your nation into war in the modern day. So the full version of the game doesn't release until 2026. So I'm gonna be playing the demo version and giving my review. Nice. Let's start. Introduction: our economy stands firm, public finances remain stable, and national debt is lower than the most EU countries. Yet tensions grow along the eastern border. Russian and Belarusian provocation intensifies, and war in Ukraine seems inevitable. Use the remaining time to prepare a country for government and repelling pressure or you will please stand defense. a German tank. That can hurt. Suspect a huge attack come from there. Better production. Right. Decent too. Anti-cavalry? What is that in the modern day? Alright. What's this? In the game version launched in the meantime, your contest online over Discord. Get a good view of supply lines. So that's how supplies work. This point events to give you a response to the situation. Alright, see this.
NATO refuses to consider our proposals for de-escalation and the prevention of dangerous incidents in a constructive manner. On the contrary, the alliance continues to move its military infrastructure irresponsibly closer to Russia's borders, while missile defense systems are being deployed in Romania and Poland. American intermediate-range missiles could appear on European territory at any moment. The nightmare scenario of military confrontation returns, one that this continent has already lived through following NATO's so-called dual-track decision. Europe remains silent. Ukraine is receiving growing volumes of Western weapons, encouraging its leadership to sabotage the Minsk agreements and creating the illusion that the conflict can be resolved by force. We call on the United States to sign a binding agreement on security guarantees, one that will ensure stability in Europe and prevent further escalation.
Sergei Lavrov accuses NATO of escalating tensions by moving military infrastructure closer to the Russia border and arming Ukraine, warning in returning to military confrontation in Europe. He calls the United States to sign a binding agreement on security guarantee assuring regional stability. Russia launched their first hybrid operation against. Oh wow. Hybrid action.
Security architecture is a mutually agreed, explicitly or implicitly accepted system of political and military balance, in which the risk of war is minimized and military force ceases to be an instrument of policy. Where such architecture exists, deterrence prevails over violence. The European security architecture was born in 1945 after the Yalta Conference. The continent was divided into spheres of influence. NATO was established in the West, 1949, and the Warsaw Pact in the East, 1955. This tense balance kept the peace until the end of the Cold War. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed under the pressure of economic crisis, national movements, and failed reforms. The old order disappeared. Eastern Europe, Poland, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Slovakia, Slovenia, Romania, and Bulgaria began to move west. For Poland, this was a strategic choice, security over dependence. For Russia, it was a betrayal of 1990's promises and a threat at its borders. After the annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, it became clear the previous balance has collapsed. Russia and the West no longer share common rules of the game. We are once again living in an era of blocks, but this time without trust. And security architecture is not just about maps and treaties. It is a matter of memory, fear, and choice.
In a moment, you will begin military maneuvers on the Suwalki Gap as part of the Tarchov's Hud simulation. You will enter real-time gameplay, go through every stage of the battle, and learn the game mechanics. You can choose between two game modes. The active commander gives you direct control over each unit on the battlefield. The passive commander delegates unit control to artificial intelligence, allowing you to focus on defining objectives and priorities. Choose wisely and enjoy the game.
Let's see here.
Commander, welcome to the operational simulation. We will begin training with the Battle Management System, BMS, to prepare you for leading our forces to victory. Every engagement begins with the deployment phase, the stage of preparation. But before we move on to force deployment, you'll first become familiar with the battlefield observation systems and camera controls. To move the camera, use the WASD keys. Rotate the camera by holding the middle mouse button and moving the mouse. To zoom in or out, use the mouse scroll wheel or press Q or E. To purchase a unit, you must first select a deployment zone, either by clicking it on the battlefield or by using the icon in the top left corner of the screen. Now let's start deploying units. Command has assigned you 2 infantry squads, transported in a KTO Rosomark, and supplies points required to deploy them. To deploy a unit, click the corresponding button in the deployment UI, then select a point on the map.
Unit ready.
You can only deploy units inside the blue lines, which mark the sectors controlled by your forces.
Unit ready.
Infantry units can be deployed directly inside a transport vehicle. To do this, first click the Combined Unit button, then select the infantry unit.
Unit ready.
Now that our units are deployed, we can reposition them within our controlled sectors. To do this, select a unit and right-click on the target location on the map. Move any of your units to point Alpha.
Dowódco? Rozkazy? Na rozkaz. Ruszamy. Gotowi do akcji. Czekamy na polecenia.
Excellent work, Commander. Let's conclude the deployment phase. To proceed, press the spacebar or click Start Battle. The battlefield is divided into sectors, each of which can be controlled by either side of the conflict. To secure the sector, you must capture all control points within its boundaries. To capture a control point, your units must be inside its area, with no enemy presence during the capture. Order your units to secure Sector Bravo.
Czekamy na polecenia.
Sector secured.
Wykonuję rozkaz. Na rozkaz. Przemieszczam się. Zrozumiano. Zajmuję pozycję. Przyjąłem. Potwierdzam.
Critical sector secured.
Tak jest. Zajmuję pozycję. Naprzód.
In some sectors, control points are located inside buildings. To capture such a point, an infantry unit must enter the building.
Tak jest. Zrozumiano.
Sector Charlie is one of these sectors. Use an infantry unit to capture it.
Dowódco? Przyjąłem. Kierunek potwierdzony. Wykonuję rozkaz. Oddział w gotowości. Przemieszczam się. Dowódco? W drodze! Działamy. Ruszamy? W drodze! Czekamy na polecenia.
Building units.
Sector secured.
Ruszamy. Zgłaszam się.
Critical sector secured.
There are two key resources in battle: supplies and intel. Supplies are earned by controlling the battlefield. Your income is based on a fixed base value, modified by the percentage of sectors under your control.
Na rozkaz!
They are the primary resource required for recruiting all units and activating certain support abilities. Intel is required to deploy higher-tier units, establish and upgrade deployment zones, and call in support from outside the battlefield. You gain a small amount of intel passively by holding sectors.
Sector secured.
Additional intel is earned by detecting enemy forces, destroying enemy reconnaissance units, or using your own recon unit's abilities.
Rozkazy?